path to a new Bitcoin all-time high is not clear yet. However, there are some signs that are confirming this big move is underway. That's what we're looking at in today's video, along with some of the altcoins that are looking relatively strong and what to avoid. You know exactly which altcoin I'm talking about.
Come on, you mother...
All right, guys, we got some big stuff to get into today, along with interest rates and some of the bad news that has come through for the stock market at this stage of the cycle. The NASDAQ and where that sits today with that drop off, basically just showing that the tech stocks have dropped off over the last 24 hours and potentially rotating into some of those small caps or maybe into some cash, hoping for a bigger correction. May I remind you that the market has a lot of support levels to the downside that it could fall to, yet still remain bullish. So let's straighten this line up here. That's your 2021-2022 all-time high. The same sort of thing goes for the NASDAQ. I was just showing here that NASDAQ was down 2.5%, but the S&P 500 shows it a little better. Here is the top at the moment. This might not be the top. Remember, the month is not closed yet, and we're on a longer term time frame. To the downside, you've got the swing bottom, which is about 13% away. So plenty of support here. Doesn't pay to be fearful in a bull market. Then you've got the old all-time highs, roughly about 16% below the current peak. Then you've got the major 50% level, about 19 to 20% below the current peak. So plenty of buying support here. Just throwing you some up arrows so that you can see that there would be support if this market were to fall that far. Now, we haven't even gone into a red month yet. We're halfway through the month. So if I take this up and just do a longer, a shorter term 50% level, even a shorter term 50% level, basically just that swing there, you can see we've got even short-term support here at roughly 5,300 points. It's also the swing top, which is a nice sign there. You've got the 50% and the swing top there that could potentially put some support into the market, some buying support. And if that were the case, it's about 6 to 7%, which is the same sort of correction that we saw in April. So basically, if this were to be the top, you could potentially have a balanced correction at this point and nothing would change. It would freak the market out. They would probably be expecting 10 or 15%. I'm just talking about what I think happens with the trading psychology along the bull market, the macro bull market, so that you can be prepared in case you did see something like this. Nonetheless, maybe some sort of trading range begins to form and market just takes some time to get going as we lead into the election, as a lot of these particular seasonal patterns have shown. So that's a wrap of the bad news today for the stock markets, obviously being down a couple of percent on the NASDAQ and 1.3% on the S&P is something a little different to the norm, where they've basically been going up day after day, putting in new all-time highs and barely giving any investors a chance to get into a position. Meanwhile, let's have a look at some of the upside targets should this occur. Should we not see Bitcoin go under $60,000 again? So just going to play a couple of little price forecasts. I know how much everyone loves this thing. Don't bet the house on it. Price targets are for fun, and there is no guarantee that they'll be hit, and I am not playing my portfolio to a price target and then selling at a price target. You do you at the end of the day. What I'm looking at here are priced areas that I would not want to see Bitcoin hit and fail at. So on a long-term time frame, I'm looking at our swings here. So we've got the Gann swing indicator. That's what we use for our trading and investing. So looking for price targets for failure in the market, and also those swing lows to help us exit positions, or swing tops to help enter positions. And you're going to flip it if you're doing short trading as well. Okay, so to the upside, my 50% is roughly around $78,000. That is this entire range projected from the current low. And as I've said before, it's probably unlikely. There's no guarantees in this game, but it's unlikely that will break through 53,000. So I'm now going to use that as a pivot point, or basically like an anchor for the price, and then project forward these numbers. So in terms of the top, 78K. Why is that really important that the market does not fail there, at least for too long? Well, that's the 50% of this entire range. So if it were to fail at 50%, that would probably mean we got testing time at these lows again, which could potentially mean 78k or around that number is going to be the top. I am not in the camp that I think that's going to happen. We have to wait and see, of course. I don't have the crystal ball, but if it did hit that level and then basically pause for the monthly closes, it's not a great sign. It's not the end of the world. It could just pause up there and then hold up above 69k and then get going, which would mean it's slightly weaker than if it were to slice through the 50%. If it's going to slice through 78k, that is amazing. So now I can use this to help me understand or identify strength and weakness in the trend. Do you know how important that is to understand the strength and weakness in a trend? Now, there are multiple examples of the price slicing through 50% and then going on to 100% of the move. That is what you want to see. A nice slice through 50% really increases the probabilities of the price then getting to roughly that 100% price target. And that 100% price target is where that green arrow is, about $100,000. So about $102,000 would be an exact 100% repeat of this entire range projected from that low. So looking pretty interesting if it can get past 78k. Of course, 78 is very close to 80k, which has been a number that everyone's been using as a price projection, of course, and also a psychological level. So plenty of work for Bitcoin to do. Got to get through the tops first at 73, 74k, then the 50% level, then the 80k, and then we can potentially look at this target here at roughly 100. Now, for the fun of it, what happens if it's to go 150% of this range? So basically extend the range, meaning there is far more buyers, more interest in the price moving more than what it's already done. So this is a big range here from 25 to 74. What if it's going to do more than that range of 100%? Maybe it does 150% of that range. Where does that take price? There it is, $126,000. Not bad, but probably people want more. What if it did double this range from the low? Let's have another look. $150,000. Let's have a look at what it did previously. So here is the low to the top, so that entire move to the upside, and then the corrective move to that low before it broke out. So another important range there. So let's have a quick look at that. That move was 3 times this move, exactly 3 times that move from the low. That's how great some of these price extensions, GAN extensions, Let's have a look at the price targets here. You can see the market moved up 100%, had a little bit of a stall there, 40,000s, or in those mid 40,000s, there was a bit of consolidation happening, and then the ETF peaked at exactly 150% of this entire move. See, $49,000. That's the ETF peak in January, 48,900. So basically a few $100s off that exact top in terms of a percentage, fractions, very, very small percentages. Then it ran up to 3 times this move here. Can it do 3 times again? Possibly, but again, now we're going to be using bigger numbers, so it just gets a little more difficult for the price to move up at the same rate as it did earlier in the cycle. I hope that's starting to sink in for a lot of us. So we're not going to get too greedy and hope for 3 times being $200,000. It can happen. Maybe we get this long and strong wave 5 that just booms to 3 times and repeats what happened back here. Great. We're all going to be rich, living, I don't know, I was going to say on the moon, but who the frig wants to live on the moon? It seems like a boring place, just like Mars. Why would you want to live on Mars? So that's what I've got here with the price targets. Now, what you don't want to see, or if you do, use it as a trading altcoin, get in and out. You know what I'm talking about. It's this piece of dog shit here, XRP. The last couple of days, the XRP people have gotten really excited, losing 5,000 and getting 50 bucks from it. As I zoom out, you'll see just how ridiculous this piece of dog stuff is, because they've had to lose for months, if not years, just to gain back a few little bucks here. And for most people in these sorts of coins, they keep buying dips all the way down. So basically losing money all the way down just to get excited by a few days of upside. Now this white line I've got across here is 10 years ago. So this white line just here, XRP 10 years ago, almost to the day, there it is, July 2014, was trading at almost the exact same Bitcoin value, which means Bitcoin has gone up the same as XRP in these 10 years. Just looking at it, July 2014 to July 2024. If you bought it in July 2014, went to sleep, woke up in 10 years later, you basically have the same gains on Bitcoin as you do with XRP. And that is not an altcoin that you want to be holding. Trading, different story. Look at the booms and busts, major booms and busts. But it doesn't seem like it's getting those major booms and busts anymore. Of course it could, but you do you. So what's happened over the last few days for XRP? It's finally broken out of a pretty significant downtrend. It's broken out of some significant resistance levels and is attempting to continue on the consolidation up to next price targets. So if you're a trader and you're not emotionally attached to it, you're not married to a piece of junk like this, then go for gold. If you're invested in it and heavily invested in it for a long time, maybe do some soul searching, see what you can do about this, and make the most of this cycle, because I don't think you're going to have another opportunity in the near future after this opportunity. They're the two I'm going to leave you with today, but I'll do more in the coming days. Friday is tomorrow, and then I'm traveling over the weekend. But until then, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you probably tomorrow and go for a surf now. All right, cheers guys.